our mortal bodies. And see, he's saying that the more that you begin to read, our sinful nature wants us to come up against what it says in the Bible. And that's why the enemy stops us. He said, but when you see it in the Bible, God said, I'm showing you this because I'm telling you what not to do, where you can look like me. He said, because see, the more that if they tell you don't drink, being a nurse, as we begin to put people on fluid restrictions, the more we tell the people, not that they like to drink water, but the moment we tell them, you can't drink nothing but 3 bottles of water a day, that's going to make them in their mind, they want to drink 8 bottles of water, and they never drunk 8 bottles of water. Just because I told them that they can't, that makes them that they want to do it. And that's what sin does. Sin, the more that God begin to tell us, we don't do this, don't do that, the more your flesh want to rise up and tell you, yes you can, let's do it anyway. And see, he said, I'm showing you that's what that sinful nature does. See, but when you look at verse 14, it says the trouble is not with the law. He says, see, the trouble ain't with the law, for it is spiritual and it's good. He said, the trouble is with me. Say with me. So we got to understand that we have allowed sin to come in our lives, and when we don't want to do right and we want to do wrong, you got to realize the trouble ain't with the devil, but the trouble is with me. Come on now. Because see, too long, we want to sit up there and say it's the devil, and a lot of it ain't the devil, it's us. Because see, when you look at it, verse 15 say, I don't really understand myself. He said, for I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do what I hate. Come on, how many find yourself in that situation? Verse 16 said, but if I know that what I am doing is wrong, this show me that I agree that the law is good. He said, so I am not the one doing the wrong. It is the sin living in me that does it. So we got to understand that it ain't me that want to do wrong, but it's the sin on the inside of me. And see, you got to begin to lay hands on that sin on the inside of you and say, God, I need you to deal with this thing. See, because see, God said, I can't help you if you want to put it on everybody else, but looking at yourself.
All right.
Because see, when you look at verse 18, it says, and I know that nothing good lives in me. That is in my sinful nature. So you got to know, it ain't no little sin, it ain't no big sin. Sin is sin. See, man try to put, well, a lie is a little sin, but committing adultery is a big sin. No, sin is sin. He said, but we have to understand though, he said in verse 20, he said, but if I don't do what I don't want to do, I am really not doing the one thing. But if I do what I don't want to do, I am not really the one doing wrong. It's the sin living in me that does. I have discovered this principle of my life, that when I want to do what is right, I inevitably do what is wrong. I love God's law with all my heart, but there is another power working within me that is in war with my mind. So you got to understand that the enemy is at war in your mind to make you think that I can't stop smoking these cigarettes. I can't stop. I just cannot let them go because, Pastor, you don't understand what they did to me. See, that's a stronghold that the enemy have launched in our minds to make us think that we can't let that thing go. He said, because see, you got to understand that, he said in verse 23, he said, this power makes me a slave to the sin that is still within me. How many of us is still in sin by something that we said that we was going to quit, and every time we said we going to quit, we go right back to that same thing, and it seems like it has a grip on us. How many times you say, I'm going to change my ways, but that same thing that you said that you're going to change, you go right back to it. He said, when you see that happen in your life, that's an indication that you have become a slave to sin. but say, but thank God for Jesus.